We are here in the Woodrow Wilson Family Home, a museum of Reconstruction. The structure was built in 1871 when Woodrow Wilson and his family moved to Columbia. He was a teenager at this time, and his father became a professor at a seminary here in town. Woodrow Wilson spent about 4 years here in Columbia. During this time period, he was attending school, he was also playing with his friends, and so we know quite a bit about his experiences here in Columbia itself. So for Woodrow Wilson, when he becomes president, you definitely see the influence of his time living here in the South as part of that presidency. For example, the way that African Americans are treated within the federal government during his time may have been a factor of his time here in the South. Another example of that is just how he views citizenship and the rights of individuals. During his time here in Columbia, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are passed, and so those are all going to be addressing about who are citizens in our country, whereas when he's president, the 19th Amendment is passed, which grants women the right to vote as well. So again, all this changes during his lifetime. Because Woodrow Wilson lived here as a teenager, we wanted to look at the environment that was around him when he lived here. So for example, what was going on in his life? What was going on around him? What was he seeing every single day? So being here in Columbia, in the state capitol, he's somebody who's going to see African-American legislators for the first time. He's going to see African-American men voting for the first time. And how are those experiences shaping his kind of world outlook? In addition to that, you have the physical rebuilding of Reconstruction, but also really more importantly, the societal rebuilding of Reconstruction. And again, all those conversations about what role government should play in that, what role the federal government should play in our lives, those are the conversations that he's hearing here in the capital city. During Reconstruction, South Carolina's economy is going through a pretty important change. Cities such as Columbia, there are textile mills that are being built. You have a switch in the economy from really kind of agrarian base to more and more industries appearing in the city itself, and Columbia is no exception to that. Throughout the state, kind of the transition from a slave-based economy over to sharecropping is going to continue to play an important role in the rural areas of the state. And so these are all things that Woodrow Wilson and all those around us are seeing. And so for example, here at this site, we talk about options that African American women had in terms of how they played a role in the economy itself. Here at this site, we know that they had domestic workers. So slavery has ended, so they are domestic servants at this point, and those women are being paid for the work. Other options included becoming sharecroppers with families out in the rural areas, or becoming teachers as the schools are being built across the state. In the Reconstruction era, women are going to see a number of different changes in their lives as well. First of all, in the period right after the Civil War, about a third of the white men of military age in South Carolina had died. And so there's going to be a lot of widows. Divorce rates actually go up higher during the Reconstruction era. And so those are all kind of changes in our lives at that time. In addition, you're going to see more career opportunities for women. Educational opportunities are going to begin to be developed as well for women. And then technology is going to play an important role. As the railroads are rebuilt in the South, canned goods, other items that can be ordered from different parts of the country are available for now. In fact, some of the people with the most political power in Columbia are grocers because they have a lot of connections to the outside, other parts of the country. Physically, Columbia is going to rebuild very quickly after the Civil War. There was a fire that destroyed about a third of the city, but really just a couple of years after the Civil War, a lot of Main Street has rebuilt by that time. It's the kind of the societal rebuilding that's going to take much longer. So about 300 buildings were burned in the fire in February of 1865, but by the time the Wilsons moved here in 1870, over 1,000 new structures have been built in Columbia. So again, Columbia is expanding, just like a lot of the cities, it's growing very rapidly. Here at this site, we really explore all the different aspects of Reconstruction. We look at the politics of Reconstruction, we look at the efforts to create kind of the modern-day public school system at this time, citizenship, the different amendments that were passed during Reconstruction, and we also take a look at the violence of Reconstruction, kind of the thing that kind of overshadows so many of these other efforts, so the role of hate groups and kind of suppressing African-American votes and those who support the Republican Party at this time. So for somebody like Woodrow Wilson, we certainly want to go deeper into his life and just really kind of show how human he is. He's somebody who does have faults, and we try to explore that a little more here at this site as well. Because this site with its connection later on to his presidency, we see that Woodrow Wilson does a lot of great things as president. He leads us through World War I. He's a part of the 19th Amendment that grants women the right to vote, but he's also somebody who Washington, D.C. becomes more segregated during his time as president. He broke a couple of traditions in terms of appointing African Americans as ambassadors to certain countries as well. And so, we want to kind of really kind of go in deeply in terms of how his faults are also something that's going to influence our nation's history.